Let's get to number 23 right now. Down to Dallas we go. Jason Robertson. He was ranked 13th a year ago, so he drops 10 spots. Still had 80 points last season, but that was a big drop-off from Robo the year before, where he had 109 points. So we even interviewed him over the offseason, and he said he was, look, I can be so much better than that. So he knows what the expectations are for him, and he didn't quite live up to them last year, but still 80 points in the NHL is nothing to shake your head at.
No, 80 points is no joke. 109 is world class of what he did a year prior. But I'm going to throw a number at you that's very important when we're talking about Jason Robertson. 25. Okay, so he's almost 26 years old. So he's 25 years old. He is not a finished product.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot to learn. And consistency is always a tough thing for young players. He's got a rangy body. His reach does a lot for him. He's got the instincts, the mind offensively. He has all those tools. Now I think he just needs to keep maturing and figuring out what his game looks like on a night-to-night basis, as opposed to just judging yourself on how many points did I get tonight. And I'm not saying he does that, but there's nights where I feel his frustration because he's not getting points. But he's so important for this team. He's an awesome player. He needs to become more well-rounded, and I think he'll climb this list. But 23, for me, talking about having a down year in some regard, that just shows you the ceiling on him. And again, go back to 25. He's a 25-year-old kid, and that's what it is. He's not even in his prime yet.
That's crazy. When he is going at the Robertson that we saw during that 109 season point campaign season, what's he doing well that maybe other guys can't quite do?
He has this look to him where, I don't know, there's nothing that he does where you're like, wow, like he is, better skater than everybody. He's stronger than everybody. His hands are better than everybody. But when he puts all that stuff together, he just hangs on the pucks. He makes things happen. For me, he's almost has, in some regards, a little bit of a Rick Nash to him. And there was times where I would watch Rick Nash. I played with Rick Nash in Columbus. And you're talking about a guy who he would have bodies hanging all over him. And it would look like chaos. He looked like he was out of control. And he'd finish it off with this beautiful play. That's Jason Robertson. He can do some things that other players cannot do. Now, when those things don't present themselves, what else are you doing? That's going to be the thing. But when you look at U.S.-born skaters, I mean, you're talking about one of the best U.S. players in the league. Yeah. And Dallas has a good one in him.
When we spoke with him this offseason, he was excited at the chance to make the Four Nations face-off team and potentially the Olympics coming up, in the next iteration and whatnot. When you think of American skaters, and how important of a factor is he going to play in the success of the red, white, and blue coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's a guy that's on that team. And here's where it gets tricky, though, and that's kind of part of it is that when you're talking about world tournaments and representing your country, there's going to be no shortage of players that can put the puck in the net. Yep. And then you're going to build a team and a roster down, so you're going to move players down. A perfect example, you're going to see the Kachuk brothers on that roster. Well, the Kachuk brothers are going to play a different role for that team, Team USA, than they probably necessarily do, whether it's for the Ottawa Senators or the Florida Panthers. And they probably, I think that they'll handle that well. Jason Robertson, that's an area that I don't know, but I think that he'll be a player that's on that roster. And he's certainly one of those guys that you can put in any position offensively, and he's going to make things happen.